So welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much, Ahmad, for this invitation. It's a pleasure to speak with you. And you said my name most perfect, Goncalvas, almost perfect.
Well, it was important. It was important that I come as close as I can, because I just, I know how sometimes people mess up on my name. So, and because my name is Ahmad, but sometimes depending on where you are, it's Ahmed, Ahmed. It can go in many different ranges. So I try to get it right.
Yes.
But anyhow, so thank you. So if you don't mind, just talking a little bit about. So you're from Lisbon, Portugal. That's where you're centered at. Can you just tell us a little bit about your role with the university and the executive education program and innovation?
Yes, so I have 30 years of professional experience. In fact, I started my career in education almost, I think, 16 years ago in different schools, more oriented for business education. And during those previous years, before I joined this new school, this new university, I just worked for business schools, and I work with executive education, but really focus on management, leadership, the program management. So the kind of programs that executive schools usually offer to executives and managers and people that are working. Okay, so 1 year ago, almost 2 years ago, when COVID started, I was hired to this Tech and Science University here in Portugal, which is Nova School of Science and Technology, to develop the executive education based on tech and science, which is strange because when you think on executive education, you are thinking on executives and you are thinking on leadership, on management. But in our days, it's impossible to be a manager or a good executive if you don't know the words that in fact we use more in our days. So when you open the TV, when you listen to the radio, words like artificial intelligence, machine learning, VR, AI. So these are the common names that are coming all the time. So the reason we are working and develop these programs, in fact, they are for executives, but programs that are based on this new world. It's not the new world of COVID. It's this new world based in technology. Technology and science and technology, on our days, it's on the base of any business. Even if you decided to open a grocery, you probably will need some data and information to develop your business.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? So everything and all your figures of your business will be inside the computer. And with the sales of the previous year, you can do some predictions. So imagine if even in a small business, you need technology. Imagine a big company. So we know, our statement in our school, and this is really one idea that I have, and I'm proud of it, is our statement is from tech to value.
Oh, wow.
Because I believe, and all my managing team believes that with technology, we can add value to the world, to the companies. So technology must be an enabler and should be part of our world, and nobody should be afraid. Of course, I don't need to know how to programming or to know, but if I managing people that new hires, imagine these new. I have kids working studying at home. My kids are in university. Sometimes they use language that I don't understand anymore. But imagine that I'm the boss of a big company. If I don't understand what they are speaking about, how can I work and develop their talents?
So So you think that business leaders need more orientation around technology and innovation, just really as a way of not only kind of connecting to what's new and what's happening, but really to help them with how to kind of like lead and manage their enterprises.
They need for everything, because
Yeah,
even yes, they need for everything, not
yeah,
only to connect, but to be updated and to make decisions. Imagine that you decided to invest in a new program for your uh, financial department,
yeah,
and your financial CFO, and you are the CEO of the company, show you how I need to buy a new software for our business. It's important to understand
absolutely.
what kind of technology exists in the market, and what kind of dashboards that imagine on the financial.
So,
Uh,
so are you finding that that universities are becoming a good source of really kind of being in a position to drive the consciousness and the strategy for change with
um,
enterprises? What's the gap right now?
the gap is enormous. I don't know how
Yeah,
it the gap is enormous. What
yeah,
I think is there are lots of talent inside universities, and there are lots of fantastic. Well, this one at startups, you don't see that gap,
yeah,
because most of the startups, they were born inside universities.
yeah,
So it shows us that in fact most of the new business, new startups, because they were born inside university, they were born there because the students, uh, they are acquiring information and
yeah,
know-how, and then they get ideas, and then they decided to build their
sure,
startups. So when you look to startups, the new startups, of course, they are into the universities. Usually startups belong to new generations.
yeah,
They are younger than we are, okay? But when you look to big companies, most of them are really far away from the universities, and universities are far away from the companies. I've been seeing this last month, since we really launched the school, the executive school, is that when the executives come to our university and saw with their eyes,
hmm,
and they touch our labs, they didn't know how much we can do, and how much work have been doing in our universities. So, and most of the innovation that is made inside university only stays there.
I know,
It's
yeah,
only for a paper. It's
yeah,
only for a paper, and that paper in usually is read only by your boyfriend, girlfriend,
yeah,
mother, best friend,
absolutely, yeah,
and maybe your teacher. So usually, because, but sometimes, and I hope that it will happen more and more, is that every time a company goes inside university, or someone inside the university goes to a company to do some consulting work,
yes,
when they join forces, in fact, really cool and great innovation came. Yesterday, that I don't know, that satellite that went to the close to between the moon and the sun, the last one that
the
it was
eclipse,
launched, I think it was 2 days ago.
yeah,
It was developed by NASA,
yep,
and also there was a Portuguese scientist inside the team
oh
from
really,
one of our universities. Yeah, her name is Catarina. So, in fact, this is technology, advanced technology, most of them developed inside universities. So,
it's
because
go
we
ahead,
have we have the tools,
yeah,
the biggest tools to develop technology and in science are in the universities. we have all the tools to produce everything that
Absolutely.
even the medicines, everything, we have all the tools, but usually we don't need to have sales and results.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we are just paid to produce. But
so how do you go by unleashing it? Because you're absolutely right. You know, when you go to a university, there are so many departments that are in their silos and they're doing very interesting things. And sometimes they don't even know the value of what they're doing, how it can impact people out in the market. As you were saying before, there's been times when I've been in computer science with computer scientists. For one that's coming up to me when I was when speaking to someone at Stanford one time, and the guy was showing me a technology, one of the professors, and with my background in learning, you know, I was saying to him that this could have a major impact on learning, and he kind of looked at me and said, "Oh yeah," you know, like it didn't really he didn't really think about how his technology would have value out in the learning space. So it seems like there needs to be someone that can kind of unleash these different silos by kind of creating a hub. Is that something that you're focusing in on? How do you unleash the knowledge that's within your university so that executives that you work with can really see what's emerging out in the field?
yes, in a school like ours, like mine, it's sometimes it's difficult, and I'm going to explain you why. We are the huge, biggest
Yeah.
school in Portugal. We have around 1,000 researchers and professors.
Wow.
So, and those 1,000 people, each one is doing something different. So what I'm doing is, there are some of them, imagine 10, 20, which are more, no, I don't say more concerned about how their developments and how their research can go farther. But so I select those that are more, that really are more, no, I don't know if it's interest, but that they know that the society needs what they are developing and studying. And then I put them working together with companies. So I invite friends that are working in big companies and say, come, let's see with your eyes. And we have, but well, in fact, what I really did, I did something different that I think it's the only program worldwide that we called Inspiring Tech Safari. And I'm going to explain to you.
Please, I love the name.
Yes. And I think all the schools worldwide, the schools and the universities that were teaching technology and science, can develop this program. It's like an MBA, but so every business schools can deliver an MBA. And so I think every tech schools can deliver an Inspiring Tech Safari. We call it Inspiring Tech Safari, could be other names. So for us, it's inspiring because it's just 3 days long. So it's inspiring. It's not something, it's hands-on. So it's just inspiring. Tech Safari, because during those 3 days, executives will listen the 16 biggest and most renowned researchers in Portugal. And they will speak about 16 different things. They will speak, each of one has only 45 minutes to speak. And at the end of their speech, of those 16, we visit 9 labs.
Really?
So,
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So during these 3 days, we have the program organized in three big themes. Yes, it's 3, and Next, I have the paper in front of me. I'll say one is human engineering. In this human engineering, we have around 6 researchers. They will speak about health, biomedical, printing, 3D printing for health, tissue engineering, and everything that is being developed inside the school that can be applied in health. Okay, we call it human engineering.
I love it.
Other day is about technology innovation, like artificial intelligence, VR, robotics, quantum computing. So all this technology can be integrated in most, or probably in all the business. Okay, and so each researcher explain exactly what they are doing, what are they are developing, and they will show to the students some examples how they can apply that in any industries. Sure. So we invite the best researchers, so they have enough knowledge of economy to explain what they are developing. So we don't choose those kind of guys that are on the lab. They don't see anything. So
you have someone that has some public skills to translate, some translation skills.
Not only public and skills for speaking, but also knowledge to speak for. Imagine if a CEO from an oil and gas company that will, but in my company, how should I? It can show some examples of work that have been that is working, or some experience, because some of our researchers and professors, they do also consultants services, so they have enough know-how to speak for this public. And on the third day, we focus on sustainability, circular economy, and decarbonization. So it's different topics. This is so on this inspiring tech safari is a way for these people that will attend to our program to really understand what kind of knowledge is being developed inside university. Yes. And when they go to the labs, they see with their eyes how we do it. Yeah. It's not just conversation, because I have an MBA in strategy. I can speak about strategy and marketing all day. Bullshit could be bullshit, and I have one opinion. I think this my breast black is nice. You will say no, my blue is bad. So this is just opinions. When you speak about science, it's not opinion. You see with your eyes. I can when some Pfizer and these big labs develop this new vaccine, they use science to do it. Absolutely. It's not, I think this one it will work. No, this is science. And we do it inside our labs. We do. So this is a nice way to start that was the best way to start our executive school. What we can do.
What type of responses are you getting from? What are the executives saying? I'm really interested in what type of questions are you getting from executives? What type of questions are they asking about the future, and how are they impacted by the experience of that particular program that you put on? Because it sounds like they really get to see the future of what's happening, and like you said, and on that has a very material reality to it. So how are they responding to what they're saying?
Well, Ahmad, what happened? We launched these programs 4 months ago, and we have 2 classes. They love it. They said that all the executives should attend, all the Portuguese executives should attend, and all executives worldwide should attend a program like this to understand the fact, in fact, what is going on, what is the future of technology. But what I realized, and because I have previous experience when I was on the other side, when I worked for companies like Barclays or Deloitte, is that once you left the school or the university, you arrive at your office and you have 1,000 emails to read. You have to pay salaries.
Yes.
And most of the time you forgot. I had everything. And so I think the best way for this program, these kind of programs, to be if more, I don't know the word in English, but I will say something similar. They must invite their employees to be on board with them, because a CEO or CFO, CMO, they don't have time to develop technology. So they must. I heard something really nice from one of the teachers on that program. She said that all CEOs, all in the world, should be sitting at a table with 3 young students with them, working every day. Because she said something nice like this. Do you know, she asked to all the students, to all the executives that were inside the room, do you know how it's going to be your business in 5 years? Yes or no? And all they say, yes. Everybody, you have predictions of how much you will sell, or your business will run on the next years. And then she said, you don't know anything, because the new generations, most of them do not understand anything about your business, and they will have different ways of living, of traveling, of eating, of everything. So unless you hire nice, young, smart students to sit on board with you, on the boardroom with you, and ask them every time you're thinking in something that you want to launch, ask them what they think, and then make a mix of what you think and what they think, because they are 30 years younger than you, but they have a future different from yours, because your future is based on your 30 years of experience. And they don't have past. That's why, you remember the beginning of our conversation today?
Absolutely.
We made provisions. We decide your future based on our future. Those students, they just have their experience today. I have a phone. I like to travel. I like to buy. Imagine, I want to see a basket game in New York in 4 months because I'm planning to go there. I don't wait to be there to buy the tickets. I start buying today.
So, I mean, you bring up a really good point, and that is, at the universities, how do like, there's this thing where, you're right. So you have these students that, they are filled with what they know and don't know, but more than anything, they're just really willing to take a step forward and see what happens. And of course, they're in their 20s, and it should be like that. However, they're still without the wisdom of a really good business decision. And so there's a gap there. Is there any way that we should begin to think about how the student experience at the undergraduate level is more incorporated into the business organizational world in a way that makes it part of kind of an experiential learning, where both parties, like you said, are winning. They're winning from having both sides be part of one experience. Because right now it just seems like those lines continue to be very closed in, very siloed. Are you thinking about, or is there anything that's emerging around how we can kind of bridge that gap? Because internships internships is not enough. That just means that you're going to go somewhere for a certain period of time. You may be treated great and you may not be treated great. But how can we just make undergraduates part of the organizational experience of business and enterprise?
Well, I was thinking on internships because you live in a country where there are so huge companies
Yep.
that internship is very common.
Yep.
But in countries like, imagine Portugal or even Spain, Italy, especially those that are, there are not so many huge companies. So we only see internships on the 10th biggest companies in Portugal.
Exactly.
So in my opinion, in countries like Portugal, we should invest in internships.
Yeah.
And because most of our companies are small enterprises, are not big companies.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of them will fall in 10 years or less than. They don't have any way to survive the way.
Yeah.
And we are Europe. Europe, it's really old. We are not open to fail.
Sure.
Never. In United States, you can fail. Fail is part of learning.
Well, in some places.
Yeah, but fail is part of.
Yeah, it is.
And and we are more traditional. We are not doing internships, but companies like Portugal, we have 10 internships. So 1,000 students applying to the university in Portugal per year. Mm-hmm. Not applying, that will be accepted. 44,000. Those 44,000, only 1,000 will have an internship.
Exactly.
It's not enough.
Yep.
So if you look to the numbers, to the figures, and those 1,100 will go to Deloitte, 70 to PMG, Pricewaterhouse,
yep,
EDP, so to the biggest. And what about the rest? They will do the business
that's a very elite way. That internships could be very elite, in the way that they're presented.
Yes, it's really elite.
So one of the things that I've been seeing, just in having a chance to really look at some of the more innovative models that are happening in post-secondary and higher ed, is that there's actually a university in Barcelona where when you come in as not the University of Barcelona, but it's a university in Barcelona. It's a venture, and I guess I can give their name. They're called Harbor Space University, and Harbor Space, yeah. And so when you come into to the university, you actually end up joining a project team, and I like that idea because that project team so they're working on projects for companies and organizations. So so it's part of the whole experience. So it's not just a elite internship. You're actually coming in and you're part of a team that's working on something for someone, and your skills are being cultivated in that group. And so I think that's the way that you scale access to an experience for students outside of the old model of internships. What do you think about that?
I think that is fabulous, and we have a school here in Portugal that does the same. Nova School of Business and Economics, that is part of our university. All the students that are doing their master on the last year of their master, they have to go to a company in groups of 5 to solve a problem of a company.
Exactly.
And that company pays a consulting fee. Usually it's around, right now it's around, for one semester, it's around 18,000 euros, which is good. Yeah. Yes, that money is not for the students, it's for the school, and to pay to the teacher who is in charge of helping them to develop strategy to solve the problem of the company. But it's the only university does that does that. I want to do that with my in my school too. So I hope that this year I will develop we call this consulting labs.
Yes.
So it's consulting labs because the students, in fact, they go to do some consulting work to solve a problem. Well, it's a nice name, but I think that is great. That is great. And even in the United States, there is a university. It's not a university, it's a school, the Knowledge Society.
Yeah.
I think it was sponsored by Microsoft, and so these big guys. Or they receive students with the age between 14 and 17 years old. They can't be younger or older.
Yes.
And during those, it's for smart, really smart students.
Sure.
Who really love technology, also, of course. And they are hired to go to companies to help them develop new products and new technology. So, of course, this program, I think one more time, is elite because it's for great minds.
Absolutely.
And the lack, the all between the really smart guys and the middle, it's really big to be. And we really need not only smart, really brilliant minds, but we need all the people. Sure. Because even the thing in a big company, there is only one CEO. So business schools usually prepare people to be CEOs of when their minds are. If you come to Harvard, maybe you will one day you will be CEO of a company. But how many people they have? How many students they have per year? How many are CEOs?
But you know, so that's what's so interesting about a school like a Harvard Business School, that a lot of those students, a lot of the CEOs of the major companies are not with Ivy League degrees. You know, it's the people that are running the operation are usually the ones with Harvard degrees. You know, because Harvard really teaches you how to be, you know, a good manager. And I don't want to diss Harvard because I'm kind of using them as an example. But you know, the leadership and entrepreneurial piece is something that seems to be to be a source of knowledge that is cultivated outside of your traditional elite business school. But I want to switch here right quick because I'm looking at the time here.
Okay.
Let's talk about Lisbon and innovation and scale, because I know that, you know, right now Lisbon has really kind of captured the imagination of many countries, you know, and citizens that are coming to Portugal to take in the energy, take in the culture. And now there's this talk about it being a potential place as a tech hub in Europe and innovation. What do you, can you just kind of give me a summary of what's occurring in Lisbon and what's emerging there around innovation and education and all that, those types of things?
No, what happened, in fact, is that Web Summit was probably the startup of this new era of technology in Lisbon, and so it was really good. Okay, so in one day we had 60,000 people from all over the world coming here to listen the best tech ideas, to listen the best speakers worldwide speaking about technology, science, sustainability. And once they arrived, lucky all of them, well, in some years November was not so good, the weather, but the weather was more or less not safety, cheap. So people said, wow, Lisbon is great. And then you have the nightlife. because almost this generation, this tech generation, they live their life is really better than our was.
Yeah.
We used to go to the office and by night to bed.
Yep.
No, they
Yep.
want to have fun. They stop at 4, or they can work all night long, and on the day after they will go to the beach. They can
Sure.
do everything that. So they want to enjoy life. They want to have experiences.
Mhm.
And in Lisbon, you have nightlife till 6 o'clock in the morning.
I know I experienced that when I was there.
So what happened, in fact, is that. So in fact, we didn't build anything. We have the talent, people, of course, but most of them start to coming. And then some companies, some of them big, start having their headquarters here. Why? It's cheaper. The salaries are low.
Yeah.
Lisbon, it's up in terms of flights worldwide. From here, you go straight ahead to United States,
Yes.
to Brazil, Canada, or you can go to Dubai or London in 2 hours. So it's Africa. So imagine, sometimes you see Lisbon is on the center of the world.
Yeah.
And it's almost like this, because in fact, from here, you can go right to everywhere. So this was the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Then, so during 2 or 3 years, Web Summit happened, and all these guys start coming and coming, and some of them start staying. They find a girlfriend, they find friends, and they decided to stay. Then the COVID arrives, and then all the world changed. And even those guys, those who had black tie, who used to travel every day. I have a meeting in Paris. In the afternoon, I have a dinner in London. Those guys saw that in fact they had to work at home. And the new generation said, oh my God, now I can live in Lisbon forever. I can do surf. I can do everything. I can work. And now I live exactly in the middle of the city, Lisbon. I really live in a place called Arieiro, Arroios, where we have 92 nationalities. It's incredible. 92 different nationalities. There's a comic guy who says that this is like the worst place of New York, the place where I live, because New York, New York is like here we have you have one nationality living and working in New York, and this place is the same. When I go out, I have a puppy. When I go out with him, usually I speak in English. I don't speak Portuguese anymore, because you have lots of German here working. So, and usually I ask them, what do you do? Oh, I work, I'm programmer, I'm do some tech developing for companies that are based in United States, in Dublin. There are lots of people that work for Google. They used to go to Dublin. They don't go anymore to Dublin. Dublin is a night. It's frozen. Why? If I can work in a place like Lisbon, why should I go to Dublin? I can drink at 2 o'clock in the morning. So that's why these smart guys who enjoy life start coming here. And in fact, it's easier to live here. We have great universities. We have great students coming from our universities. So it's a mix of so many good things that happen in a small frame of time. So it was nothing that we developed, because 10 years ago, I remember so well. So our focus as a country was just in tourism.
Yep.
So we focus our country in our food, to hotels, beach, nothing different. Now we don't focus on tourism anymore. we focus our country in quality of living and working, because it's easier and you can work from here to everywhere in the world.
Well, you know, it's interesting. So, I mean, there's a couple of things that I hear here. First, it sounds like that there's a very strong, I know there's a growing digital nomad community there.
It's
And
true.
so, you know, and part of that community is, you know, folks that work for the larger companies like a Google who are programmers. But also, I know that you have kind of these crypto entrepreneurs that are emerging. Actually, when I was in Portugal, when I was in Lisbon, I ran into a couple of them just sitting in a cafe. So I kind of see that as like a signal that something's emerging in that area, because I ran into them more than one time.
Mhm.
So if Lisbon does and continues to emerge as a place for tech and innovation, what do you think is the ability of Lisbon's infrastructure to cultivate homegrown talent there that simply is just not the elite? Because the elite is going to be okay, you know, they'll get great
Always.
education, but how can Lisbon begin to cultivate talent from the ground up, you know, where, you know, young kids who don't come from elite communities, how they
It's
could feel
difficult.
like they can participate in that economy?
It's difficult. I'm going to tell you one, it's almost a secret. Well, it's not a secret, well, but it's something that I spoke with a managing partner of Deloitte last week.
Yeah.
You know how many positions they are open to right now for the consulting services in Lisbon? 180. There's no students.
Wow.
There are no people. Why? I'm going to explain to you. Because of the salaries. Because I can live in Lisbon and work for Google in the United States or
Yeah.
in and so it's for, so we can be fixed here. Of course, I will spend most of my money here.
Yeah.
But in some cases, I have some friends who work here. They live here.
Mhm.
They work for European companies
Mhm.
for where the tax are lower than in Portugal, because you know our taxes are incredible. So
Yeah.
once you receive, imagine 50,000 euros per year, 50,000, which is nothing, you will pay 50% of taxes. So which it's incredible. And
My
to
goodness.
hire, to get 50,000 euros per year, must be senior manager. You must
Yeah.
be a director. So the new hires, they receive around 20, 25. So it's
Yeah, I
in
get, yeah.
Portugal. So the reason it's quite difficult. I really don't know how it can be solved. In fact, I think the the brilliant minds, or the good, not only the brilliant minds. I have a cousin, he's 60 years old, so 58.
Mhm.
He's really good on tech, is programming. He works for a Spanish company. He receives in Spain, but he's in Portugal
Yeah.
because the salaries here are not in good.
Sure.
So it's quite, so we will live here. Maybe we will spend money here. We'll pay our rentals. We will pay our food. So our will in some, we will contribute to the economy. But the probably they won't work for Portuguese companies. So in terms of Portuguese local companies, they won't be competitive, because most of this new generation will work, they will have their own startup,
Yeah.
or they will work for other companies. And you know, it's like the American dream. All the new students want to work for the best and the big.
Yeah.
One
Absolutely.
day on their lives, they realize it's better to have time than have money. But it won't. It only happens at the age of 50 when you just start to think on your future
Right.
of the time that is left. So it's complicated. I believe that these new digital nomads will be here, will remain here. They will love to stay here, but they will work for companies worldwide.
Sure.
Not only digital nomads that are from Australia living here, which is so nice. Even the new generation, they want to they are, because they look to their parents and our salaries, and they say, I don't want to have that only that money per month. How can I buy an iPhone? The 13 is the new one. If a salary isn't, one salary won't pay that.
Pays up, yeah. So my last question is, so in Portugal, how do you see an emerging ecosystem? Because I know you and I talked, and you mentioned a couple of really cool innovation organizations.
Yes.
One was like a foundation, and then I know there is something called like Lisboa 42 or something like that, or
No, yes, no, School 42, but School 42 was born in France.
okay.
And 42 is the tech code. I think if you like to tech code, 42 you'll find. It's a French school that it was born in France, and now it is we have that school also in Portugal. It's a tech school. It's, well, there are people applying from all areas, from medical, from doctors, engineers, people from so many different fields. And during 3 years, they are working technology. They are solving tech problems in programming. It's a programming school. This is, because it's not only because of Lisbon. I think it's because of the future. Because most of the things, the subjects that universities still teach, the students won't listen anymore.
Yeah.
One day, I believe what I'd love to have, and COVID shows that it is possible. I don't want to imagine that I want to do something in Harvard and other program at INSEAD or HEC in France. Imagine a corporation, like a joint venture between the biggest biggest, I don't know, I won't say biggest, the great schools in the world. And then as a student, they have programs online, free, some are free, some are we have to pay. And I will do my curriculum according to my talent, according to my taste, according to my passion. Because, when you join passion and talent in the same place, you will be great. Even if you are a housekeeper, because you can be happy being housekeeper, but even a housekeeper should go to a school to learn how to do housekeeping. Okay. So I believe, I know I have just a son and a daughter, and I this is something that a great example that I have. My daughter, she's 18. She's really smart. She's brilliant, in fact. And at the end of the high school, she was really upset because she loves law, but she loves math. In Portugal, I think in the United States it's a little bit different. But in Portugal and most countries in Europe, if you decide to go to law, you only have subjects related with law. If you go to engineering, you have things related with engineering. So for her at the age, by that time she was only 17, she said, oh my God, I love math, I love law, I love philosophy, I love chemics. What should I do? Fortunately, she could apply to 2 different schools. One is universities, one is private and one is public. And she's doing both bachelors at the same time.
Wow.
Of course, Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a lot. What, in my opinion, she could have a third option. If I was the Minister of Education, will say, "Hey, you people like you can select. You have to do every semester 6 subjects, and you have to finish them. You can choose from any school you like." Because at the end, what is important is not if I have a degree in engineering, is if
Sure.
I am good in doing engineering or law or something that I like. And with a diploma, you don't know anything. You just know.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you spend one night reading for an exam, so you don't know anything. But when you study things that you like, that you love, and like you were born to study that, you will be very good on doing that. And on the other hand, I think most of the companies are still they are hiring specialties like engineering, programmers. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I
Well, but so that's, that's the whole purpose of this platform, Adventure, is to really explore
oh,
what's emerging around, how enterprises can cultivate talent for the future of work, life, and impact in a way that that is not the traditional approach of higher ed. And so, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight you, because I know that the work that you're doing at the university and your ideas around education and passion and innovation is really the pathway to the future. I mean, it's there's no way of avoiding it, but we need to create an ecosystem of like-minded people that share that same perspective and develop it as a practice and an enterprise. And so that's the whole purpose of Adventure Online, is to really support a community to really drive, these type of ideas into action. So, so first I want to thank you so much for coming here and providing, being able to speak to a broad range. I kind of quizzed you on a lot of things, from the university to the future with students to Lisbon. So perhaps you are prepared to be Lisbon's or Portugal's Ministry of
so good.
Education.
Well,
Yeah.
but some of the things that I said, it's my opinion, now that I work in a school of tech and science, say that I can say that opinions are, well,
Yeah.
the world are full of opinions. But of course, I have some experience on education
Yes.
and with companies and some opinions I think could be accepted. And we can work on them, of course, and
Yes.
discuss. Maybe I can develop them better, but in fact, it's opinion. Maybe some other girl could have greater opinions than mine. But okay, thank you so much, Ahmad. It's really good
Thank you. Thank
to
you.
have this conversation.
No, it was great. And I actually think that Lisbon does have an opportunity, because what we do know from studies and reading the works of like Richard Florida, who wrote The Creative Class, is that location and venue does matter, and
Yes.
if an area is creating the type of environment that allows for students and people and talent to have a desire to convene there, then that's what attracted companies. And that's really a model that has really
Mhm.
flipped, because back in the day, it used to be that you would sell your soul to get companies to come to your city, to your country, and then you would try to recruit people to come there. Now it's flipped. You create venue, you create a special place for music and nightlife and theater, all these cool things. that attracts talent there, and then the companies come. And I think that Lisbon really is poised to really benefit from that model in the future. So
Sure, sure.
I'm
Yes,
I'm
I
excited about
really understand. Yes, I think in fact you said something that is really important. You know, in the hospitality industry, the most
it.
important is location.
Yes.
And in fact, what I think Lisbon is the perfect location to work in our days because it's safety.
Yep.
We welcome very well. I think we welcome very well all the people from all over the world. Now
Absolutely.
we have lots of people from Bangladesh, really poor people
Yeah.
that are beginning their life, and we welcome them. We are really happy for them to choose our country.
Yes.
Sometimes to do the kind of work that we don't like to do.
Sure, sure, sure.
But we welcome them. We are open to and so this is the great location to be happy and to develop talent, to develop companies, to build startups and to build innovation. But just one thing that
Sure.
I forgot to mention about cryptocurrencies. Inside the school, we now have the school, not only inside university, but also with some digital nomads outside university. We are developing boot camp on cryptocurrency and
Wow.
blockchain.
That's huge.
So we want to be the center of the world in terms of cryptocurrency and blockchain. In 2 or 3 weeks, I will launch the first cryptocurrency asset management executive program.
Wow.
I'm working on it with some guys. Well, I'm working on the marketing and sales, all right? So I don't deliver the program. I just will launch it in our website. And we are working with some digital nomads that they are brilliant on these subjects. And we want to attract people from all over the world for this, because cryptos, it's the language of the new generation. It's it's a new Visa card.
It is. And no, first of all, I just want to say congratulations, because that's fantastic. And I think that whoever can get ahead of that curve now will really, really, really set themselves as a source for learning, in the future. Because, now, now with this new generation, they really believe in this ideal of decentralizing. They want to bypass these centralized systems. And the more that we can develop the education to support that, and it's going to look totally different, because even now, you have these young people who are creating learning opportunities inside of the metaverse, and it's very decentralized. And the more that we can get started in embracing these things, it will give the educational enterprise and higher ed an opportunity to be relevant. Because if they don't, they will not be, because the innovation right now in this area is so powerful, so fast, that that these universities could be disrupted very, very easily.
Yeah.
So
yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. It's true. Yeah. So maybe you can send me those contacts. You said that you connect with some people around that about with our interest in cryptocurrencies here in
Absolutely.
Lisbon.
Absolutely.
You can send me some contacts of those people, please. I would love to speak to them and listen what their opinion, and maybe they can join our program too to deliver their experience, because we are looking also for some case studies about that and some experience of people that the program. We want to do something really worldwide.
Yes.
So
let's talk offline on that, because I think that you're really in a poised position. And I, I'm a big fan of Lisbon and Portugal. So whatever way that we could see that country become a source, for the world, that I'm open to. So once again, Anna, I wanted to thank you for coming on Adventure. And
Thank you.
I look forward to 2022 to see what else you're coming up with for your university.
Okay, thank you, Amarty.